And,
Okay.
I just thought I'd hit that while I'm thinking about it. Oh yeah, we got two. So who feels summary-ish or prologue-ish, I should say.
Well, are we counting two? Are we counting the song?
Oh, do you have the song lyrics?
Yes.
Oh, well, you get the song lyrics, and I guess
Okay.
Hmm.
Brian, you'll get the prologue then, because I did not think about that. I did start to, because the Zoom whiteboard is so broken now. Brian, can you bring that up on like the wiki or something? So you
Oh,
can put it in the
I
chat.
can read it out of the book
You
probably.
can read it out of the book. That's fine. Um, no, yeah, because I teach a few classes with Zoom, and one of them it was a pretty low level student, so she wasn't telling me, but apparently she spent a week or two looking at the ceiling when I thought I was giving her a whiteboard. That shows why she was so confused, at least. So they're trying to teach a lesson, and she doesn't actually see any of it. So I'm like, "What's up, Zoom? Don't break
Dude,
stuff."
you got Cookie in the background. Heck yeah.
Oh
Little
yeah, he's
Cookie
always he's
Monster.
he's always there now. I brought him from one school with the
Okay.
plan to take him to another school,
Mhm.
but then I just started using him in podcasts instead, and he's too much fun in the house. So I yeah, because you can go full cookie with him. I'm talking to you. Yeah, he's fun.
You have Kermit too? Hey ho,
Yeah.
Cookie Frog here.
There is one still in my Amazon shopping cart that I never bought. So it crossed my mind that much. I'll put it
Welcome
that
to
way.
Time Enough Podcast.
Yep.
Yay! Yay!
I put that much thought into it. So, am I getting a weird static? Or oh, maybe it's just
Where we
picking up.
explore every episode of the Twilight Zone and beyond. Yay!
Andrew would certainly be willing to do
Dude, I
an
would
entire
so
one as
dig a Kermit
Kermit.
Rod Serling intro, in the suit.
Well, Kermit's one of the hardest voices to nail because it just had so much Henson in it. Even the people who have taken over for Kermit don't sound quite right.
No.
Because
Yeah, no.
Mickey Mouse sounds fine, whoever's doing Mickey Mouse now, but Kermit has always sounded weird. Like I think that's why Muppets Haunted Mansion focused on Gonzo so much, because that's the only original voice actor still hanging around.
Yeah.
The Frank Oz stopped, what, 10 years ago, I think? So
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
remember
he's
if
still
he's
around, but he's just retired then, I guess.
no, I mean as far as doing Muppet voices, I mean.
I guess you still get him for Yoda if you absolutely need him.
Would they probably AI? Didn't they AI James Earl Jones just take voice samples and make him say what he wanted because he's a 90-year-old man that they didn't want to bother too much?
Could be.
Because yeah, in the Obi-Wan show, I think that was like sanctioned by him, but done AI style, if I remember correctly.
Oh gosh.
Like he
Well,
was like,
I
"You
was
can
just
do
amazed
that."
to see Hayden Christensen come
Speaking
back.
of Star Wars, I just got done rewatching episode one. It was on a 25-year anniversary release in theaters here. And I got one of those you can upgrade to have moving seats. It's called D-Box, and the seats can move. So every time they were flying in a ship, or every time they had their lightsaber battle, my seat was moving around. It was so awesome.
Oh, that's fun.
And I'm
Oh,
one of the few people that do not hate on episode one.
yeah, I was gonna say I got the Blu-ray set of the first three just a few months ago, just to have all the Star Wars on Blu-ray, and
Yeah.
I had some trouble getting through one. Although here's a thought, I guess it's more a question for Brian. If you watched it in black and white, does the bad acting now fit okay? Because it looks like more old-timey.
The
That's a
Phantom
thought.
Menace?
Yeah, I just someone I no, it was a YouTube video where someone was positing that if you watched in black and white, it all fits together better. Because now the digital effects and the whatever was real, it seems to meld better in black and white, right? And then the acting being kind of like too uptight comes across better because it seems like a stagey 30s pot boiler now.
Hmm. I don't know. I hadn't considered changing its tone to monochrome. I don't
One,
know.
one, one,
Maybe.
once someone mentioned it, I was like, oh, that's cool. I also finally watched Godzilla Minus One. I didn't realize that they actually re-edited the black and white version of Godzilla Minus One. Like it's a different edit of the movie completely. That's the
Oh,
Whoa.
like it's actually edited to be rougher and look more like documentary style, to fit more like the 54 Godzilla.
huh.
So I haven't
Interesting.
seen that. Luke saw it. He went to the theater 3 times
Oh, he
without
saw it.
English
I was gonna
subtitles.
say he always
Yeah.
talks about that movie whenever he can.
Yeah.
I'm not a Godzilla connoisseur, so I couldn't tell you.
No, it is very good though. Highly recommend it. So easily, I think I do like it better in Shin, mostly because some of the Shin Godzilla, the early forms look like shit. Like once it's full on Godzilla, it looks good, but the early forms do look like CGI goop, and I don't like that.
I will say Godzilla cross Kong, X Kong, whatever we want to call it. That didn't I don't know, that didn't pique my interest, so I didn't
I
want to see
went to
that one.
see that during my holiday week, and yeah, Godzilla minus one blows that out of the water like easily.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun watch. I did like it, but just like yeah, Godzilla minus one is much better.
Yeah.
I like Godzilla enough to have this guy, sometimes coming across my screen. So this is 84 Godzilla, but yeah, not too far off him. Well, I guess he's a little more suity looking than the Godzilla minus one. But yeah, then Godzilla's kind of a well, I guess he's never quite a villain, but he's definitely it's not like Godzilla X Kong. It's like Godzilla's kind of a hero. They like kind of let him sleep in the Coliseum, that sort of thing. But
Oh, not to change the subject, but I have to ask, how many episodes do you guys got left of Space 1999?
recorded or that have come out or that
How
are
many no, how many that are left in the season until because the series is almost wrapped up, right? There
I'm
was only 2 seasons.
I'm gonna have to grab the box to tell you that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hang on. We just did episode 3, 4, 8, 8, around episode 8, I think, in the box order. I have the list here. My
6,
computer's being very sluggish. I'm sorry, so I don't
12,
know what's going on here.
13, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We were like
15
1/3 of
if
the
we
way
do Bringers
in.
of Wonder is one episode, which we probably will. So
Yeah.
unless you actually, Brian, you're the one to dissent to that, by the way, because you know more about it.
Is it weird that I'm waiting for you guys to finish the series before I actually watch the show? Like,
I
I
don't
want to
know.
watch it, but I'm like, I'm waiting for you guys to finish the series, and then I
You do
want to.
series one. Yeah,
Yeah,
series one
season
is,
one.
is kind of its own thing. So I
True.
would, yeah. It's a lot of changes once you go too. So I might recommend just do the first 24. It's pretty
Yeah.
encapsulated. And by the time you finish that, we'll probably be finished with the second series. And then I guess we'll do one for what is the short called?
Message from Moonbase Alpha.
Yeah, that's there. I'll have to do a season 2 wrap up. Is it worth talking about the movie versions? I mean, it's just re-edits, but they did put a little new footage in there of Earth stuff.
Yeah, regrettably, I've not seen any of those
I
movie
went
edits.
looking on they're not on YouTube like the show is, so I had trouble tracking them down. It would be my main reason to say no at this point.
The
But
weird part about at least one of them, I think they rescored it with Ennio Morricone doing the music, which, according to Earl, who of course promptly went out and bought the soundtrack when it was available a little while ago, it's not some of Morricone's best work.
oh, that's too bad. I was about to say that could be kind of cool, but it might be
Mhm.
interesting to see it re-edited with some added scenes with some different music. And it's all episodes we would not have watched for like a year at that or more at that point. So, and a few didn't talk about because you weren't a regular at that time. So, if we could track down the movie, like just do one episode for like all of them, might be worth it.
Yeah, well, there was
Almost,
a box set of them out there somewhere, but it was probably Region 2 or something. So,
Yeah, I'd want to track
maybe.
down a digital copy,
you
a
blew my
digital
mind with.
copy.
This is changing the subject a little bit, but you're talking about DVDs and Blu-rays and all that. You were talking about MASH in one of your shows the other day, and you said you could turn off the laugh track.
Correct.
That blew my mind. Like I was like, whoa. Like I
Yeah,
didn't know that was like that's cool. Like the laugh track doesn't bug me that much, but that's cool that you could do that.
no, the thing with MASH is when it wants to be funny, it is funny, so you don't need a laugh track.
Yeah.
The laugh track's there for shitty sitcoms when they just made a joke and nobody can tell because they didn't laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, MASH is much better without laugh track, I would say. Because they did a
Didn't they
few like
not do laugh track in the OR just as
they
from
never
day
did in the
one?
OR. They never did
Yeah.
in the OR.
And
And
then
there
those
are
black and white episodes and then those serious episodes, obviously they didn't. Yeah.
yeah, and there's a few episodes where that never had one to begin with. But yeah, 90% of them had a laugh track and you can shut them off, which was just like that's great. So highly recommend if I have the DVDs from like 20 years ago, the one that came in the big green
Yeah.
medical case. which I don't have the big green medical case. I haven't had that for ever, but I think they didn't
I
sell
remember
it
those
too.
like Full House was like a little house.
Yes,
You had
yes,
the Full
yes.
House.
That's not a set I bought, but
Don't lie. Don't lie.
I bought the Saved by the Bell set. Come on, I'll admit that easily. But
Yeah.
not going to admit to Full House because I did not buy that. And the only one of those I maybe want to watch is the one where they go to Disney World, you know?
Can't go wrong
Oh, or
there.
when the Beach Boys show up. I'll watch those episodes, even
Yeah.
though it's kind of depressing. Especially, I think Brian not you, Brian, but Wilson shows up with on one of those, and he just looks completely. Oh, what is it? He's in a video for whatever the single was from Summer in Paradise. He's not on the album at all. There's no Brian Wilson whatsoever on the album, but he's in the video, and he just is the most. It's the most screwed up you'll see him like mentally probably. I guess he'd lost weight by then, but. Sorry, I'm going into Beach Boys. That's Satirica. That's another one of my things that I don't
Hey,
know
you
if it's
love
come.
Beach Boys. You love Beach Boys. You love amusement parks. It's two things I know about you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like I don't bring up the Beach Boys that much on podcasts though, or do I? I don't know.
No, not as
Not
much as
that
amusement
as
parks.
much.
Amusement parks is your true love.
See, in real life, I'll probably go on rants about music more than I will amusement parks. But I
I
guess
need
it's
to
because
check out your music, by the way. I haven't checked it out. All your randomness that you said you just kind of did you collapse something like really long?
my Bandcamp has like 40 albums I've made over the past 20 years.
Jeez.
I guess, it would be like, do you want to hear folk rock? Do you want to hear ambient, electronic, weird psychedelic? I can point you to whichever genre.
I try to
Do you...
check out all the stuff you guys do, you know. The only thing I don't is I don't get into the Roddenberry, the Star Trek universe and all that because I feel that would be like diving into a whole different rabbit. Like that's more like that. I have to follow so much more stuff.
Right, right. No, I get that. Like even within there, they do Babylon 5. I'm like, I'm not cracking that
Yeah.
nut right now.
And I know is it you, Brian, that's got the Orville podcast?
No, that's Mike Richards with
Oh, that's Mike Richards.
Jessica
Okay.
Verdi.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never
Mike
seen
comes
an
through
episode
here
of the
every so
Orville.
often. Mike was just on too.
And Jessica's
Death
coming
Death
up
Ship.
very
Yeah.
soon. Jessica did Doctor Strangelove with us last week, which maybe I haven't put to the Patreon
You
yet. So
guys always have good guests too. Like everybody's got a good voice, and like even when Mercy comes on here, it's cool. Just
well, actually, it
a
turned.
lady's perspective.
I helped. We actually I saw Luke and Mercy a few times this past weekend because they came to my concert, and then I helped them move.
Yeah.
And she was explaining when you live on the border or near the border, because she lived near the U.S. border, grew up there. You
Mhm.
learn both languages because basically, if you don't also learn English, you're going to not go anywhere in life.
Yeah.
So if you're a Mexican that only knows Spanish, like if in Mexico City, it's really good to know English, but near the border, like you really need to know English. So, so she's got the accent, but actually, it turns out her English basically is native level, just with a Mexican tinge, and she'll throw in Spanish words here and there.
Which brings me to you, Mr. Matt. Why did you not learn a Japanese language? Why did you not?
How
Yeah,
can you not? You live there.
no, well, that was Sunday night dinner with Mercy and my wife, accosting Luke and myself for not knowing more Japanese. Luke's about the same as me with Japanese level. He knows history very well, but I mean, the weird thing for me is my reading is best. Like I can usually read signs and stuff without too much trouble as long as it's not total kanji. But yeah, as far as and then listening is okay, but speaking I just suck. Like, when I hear the word I recognize it, but if I need to produce it myself, I'm kind of stuck.
Anybody that can learn a second language, hats off to them. I was able to dodge it in high school. I didn't have to take Spanish or French or anything like that. So anybody that can learn and keep it in their mind a second language, yeah, hats off to you.
Yeah, I was
Right.
I can, but I was an awful language student in high school too. So why did I move to a country that speaks their language? I don't know, but that's what happened. So
It worked out.
when I say I don't know Japanese, I mean I don't, but I know a lot more than say people living in America probably do.
Yeah.
Because you guys might know like Konnichiwa, that's about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I will start this. Let's do a 5 second silence so I can spot it, and then we will start the episode. Hello, welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we have a hoedown with all of the episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond. Maybe I should have said square dance, but hoedown and a square dance seem related. This is Matt here. Returning, we got two fellers. Hi, Brian. You're around a lot.
Yes, I'm always somewhere nearby, it seems.
Hi, Sean. You're around a lot.
Yeah, I am around a lot and I am round a lot.
Then you
But
got
your
a
mom.
then you got a Jess-Belle photo there on your screen. Yes.
Yeah, since I don't make my on-camera appearances, I wanted to make one today, but I didn't get all groomed up for it. Yeah, I figured I put Jezebel, you know.
I just have no shame. I'm in desperate need of a haircut now. I'll get on camera anyway. That's
I groomed my face, but my hair is a mess.
I didn't shave today. That's fine. I can get away with 2 days not shaving. Yeah, we got a twofer. I don't remember how we ended up with this configuration. I think it's just I want both of you on the show and it just worked out here.
I think I
bottom line.
requested. I
You
got
requested,
excited.
okay.
I got excited when because I think you had thrown me a miniature in one other one for
Oh,
this
right.
season, and I was like, I don't know, like I'm not too thrilled about those ones, so let me get on this one.
Right, right. I already recorded miniature, which I'll bring up again next week, that multiple people asked not to be miniature. I had like
Oh,
three
see,
people
interesting.
say not because they don't
I'm
like it, just it's like uncomfortable to talk about, I guess.
Is it because the guy is like got Asperger's? That's what I kind of related
Oh,
to. Like
okay.
he's
We did
got.
not bring up that take, but that's a very good one. So everyone like take that, graft it to next week, please. I think I called him an insult at one point, which was Mark did point out he's not involuntary. So
I mean, I'm labeling him, but I kind of posed that question one time at a Twilight Zone group. I was like, "You think this guy has like Asperger's syndrome?"
yeah. But you know a guy who does bang, that Billy Ben.
Oh, yes, he does. And they hoe down and square dance and all kinds.
um, so I guess I said, oh, I wrote Billy Ben is such a baller at the end. I was trying to get a little bit of bad poetry going, or alliteration at least. Let me rock through some trivia on this real quick. Original air date was February 14th, 1963. Happy Valentine's Day. Earl Hamner Jr. wrote this alongside a bottle of Redneck and Moonshine. Maybe. I don't actually know that. I'm just making assumptions. I think he did say this was the favorite of the ones he wrote, though. So Buzz Kulick directed this along with several other Twilight Zone episodes. He'll later direct the acclaimed TV movie, Brian's Song. You like that, Brian?
I've never seen Brian's song.
It's kind of
I've
like
seen Life of Brian. Does that count?
no. I mean, that's a great
No.
movie, but that's different. That does have a song called Brian's Song. That might be why the name popped out. Now I'm like, do I actually know the TV movie? I'm like, I just think I just know that the theme song of Life of Brian is called Brian's Song. But I know, especially when I was younger, if there was something with my name in it, I'd like usually avoided it like the plague. It just felt weird. Like this piece of media is maybe making fun of me. I don't know, even if it's good. Jess-Belle was, of course, Anne Francis returning to the Twilight Zone by way of Forbidden Planet, just as so many flying saucers and weird space consoles have. So that's how you get your Forbidden Planet in this episode. Of course, her main claim to fame is getting all of us to say robot instead of robot. And James Best is back as our favorite hick, having already shown up in The Grave and as Jeff Myrtlebank. He'll, of course, redneck harder as Sheriff Roscoe and the Dukes of Hazzard a decade and some change later. And I know one or both you called me out on it. I did write Myrtle back again and then had to change it back to bank. Laura Devon was, oh God, now I'm looking at Ilwin. How do you say your name?
Ellie Wynn?
Elwin. Okay.
Yes, Elwin.
Like when
Oh,
I heard in
Elwin.
the episode it was fine. I was gonna write Ellie and then it's spelled Ellwyn. So now I'm sitting here looking at it on the page.
I was
How
just
do you
thinking because
say
they
that?
called her Ellie. I thought it was like Ellie Wynn, but no, Elwin is probably, yeah. You're gonna
Yeah. Okay. Ellie. She's Ellie Glover now. She made one rock around the block doing 60s TV guest spots. Trekkies may notice that she made an appearance on Gene Roddenberry's pre-Star Trek show, The Lieutenant, which I didn't I think I wrote to both of you that I made so many typos. And I typed in lieutenant so wrong that even spell check couldn't help me. So that's just how it stayed in my notes.
Oh, it's all right. I got it. I
Granny
understood.
Hart. Yeah, I'm not. I was always the first out of the spelling bee in grade school.
Hmm.
Granny Hart was Jeanette Nolan. She got her career started in radio, but moved to the screen as Lady Macbeth in the 1948 Orson Welles version of that Scottish play. We've already seen her in The Hunt, and she'll be playing a witch once again once we get to Rod Serling's Night Gallery. Virginia Gregg was Ossie, Jess Bess's mommy. She also made the radio to TV leap, notably showing up on both versions of Have Gun Will Travel, though in very different roles, as in radio and TV have done.
I
You
had a
know,
question about the mother, Aussie. Like, did you ever? I watched the episode twice today. Um, did you ever hear the name mentioned once? I couldn't recall hearing her name mentioned, but they say it on the credits and everything. That's her name.
yeah, that's why I wrote it down. Now that you're mentioning it, I don't know. I think it's just like clear on screen who that is, so they don't
Yeah,
have to. And Jess-Belle wouldn't call her mom by her name. Probably. We're not
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I don't know if he's responsible for the Hillbilly songs or not, but Nathan Van Cleve is credited for the score in this episode. A prolific dude in Hollywood, he also made innovations in record needle technology and pioneered the use of the theremin, especially in the movie Robinson Crusoe Goes to Mars, which I think is 1 year after this. But yeah, I didn't find they didn't have, at least on Wiki they didn't have information about the redneck and songs. So
No, I looked because I really loved that song where they have every act, about Jezebel. I
right,
really love that song. It's so like haunting and eerie.
it's
But
kind
yeah,
of
I even looked, I Googled it and tried, and nobody can find the credit who sung that.
okay, then I don't feel too bad for not listing it. But I don't know, the one downside is having just done the Wicker Man, 73 Wicker Man with its fantastic music kind of serving a similar purpose. Just felt cheesier. But that's I think that's just because I'm putting in contrast with the Wicker
Nobody
Man
was frolicking
soundtrack.
naked though.
There-
They all had their
no,
clothes
that
on.
usually doesn't happen in the Twilight Zone. Um,
Or network television in general.
Since you
Yeah.
did get the lyrics, though, Brian, we will give you the prologue, and then Sean, if you want to sing us a song or just read the lyrics, that's fine.
Have to consult the great book of Twilight Zone to get the words of Serling here. Hang on.
Oh yeah, you're full on physical today, like Olivia Newton-John.
The Twilight Zone has existed in many lands and many times. It has its roots in history and something that happened long ago, and got told about and handed down from one generation of folk to the other. In the telling, the story gets added to and embroidered on, so that what happened might have happened in the time of the Druids is told as if it took place yesterday in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Such stories are best told by an elderly grandmother on a cold winter's night by the fireside in the southern hills of the Twilight Zone.
Okay, that's how Rod would have done it if he had a very small stroke in the middle. No, I get it.
I should have put on my proper glasses to read it.
Oh well. Yeah, Sean, how about do you want to just throw out those song lyrics now? Because I guess you should give him a dramatic reading so he can think about what they say. I don't know.
Where was Ellie Glover? Dark was Jezebel. Both they loved the same man, and both they loved him well.
Okay. Oh, you're
I
giving us
just
a
I just
that's
did the
fine.
small version. I just did the intro one. I didn't do the whole.
No, it sounded like you were
I
ready
got the whole
for
song
that.
if you
So
want the whole song,
The
but
second verse,
um
same as the first.
I guess I should ask her any of the lyrics interesting later on, like worth throwing out prologue style. Or you can sing more if you want. I don't know.
I was prepared to hate you guys each time with just busting out the
Oh,
lyrics, but I don't think I'm going to do that.
oh no, I'm kneecapping your plan. Sorry.
No, 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 you didn't. I think once was enough. I got
Yeah,
it out of
yeah,
my system there.
yeah.
Did I
Okay.
do an okay job?
Yeah, yeah. No, it was great. I was like, oh, we're going musical this week. That's cool.
I mean, I couldn't match you with singing it. That was it was so nice and so eerie. It's kind of like "Come Wander with Me," their song in season 5. Just eerie. Love it.
Yeah, I think I have a thing against country style dancing. Like, and like in elementary school, of course, we have to do square dance time, and I hated square dance time. And then when I was in high school, this is mid '90s, mid to late '90s in Atlanta, and
Yep.
the girls are like, we want to go to the country bar for line dancing. You want to hang out with the girls, so you end up going to this big redneck line dancing place. Which so I've been line dancing like 5 times. Well, that was like in high school, maybe a little bit of university, but just because the girls wanted to go there, so you want to go where the girls went, right? Maybe that's why Billy Ben's there. I don't know. He hates square dancing. He's there
If you
for the
were an
girls.
adult in the 90s, I feel like you went to like a country square dance once. Like a country, like you know what I mean? Like you said you did like that was the thing in the 90s. I was a kid, so I
Yeah,
didn't
this is
do
the
it.
line dancing. The line dancing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you do it at like Achy Breaky Heart or something, right?
Yeah, not like traditional like do see do round and round. I'm not talking about that. But yeah, just
Yeah.
line stepping, you know.
They did have a live band. That was cool. So, I
Yeah.
mean,
We had a
uh,
place here when I grew up, or when I grew up further down south. It was called Canocti Harbor Resort. There would be like Leanne Rhymes and like Trisha Yearwood and certain country people that time.
oh, this was just a house band. These weren't, I don't know, maybe Stars did play there or,
Yeah,
well, I was too small for like big, I don't know. I don't know how country music, industry works. So I think I
yeah.
should just stop bringing that. They had an electric bull, a mechanical bull. That was cool.
I grew up on country music in my car in the 90s with my grandma and my mom and stuff. So I really have a soft spot for country and western for some reason.
No, all the country I heard was as a Boy Scout. So you're in the van with the Scoutmaster driving up to the Blue Ridge Mountains and and he's playing, like the Highwayman or Alabama or something, right? So I mean, yeah, everybody likes Johnny Cash, right? Yeah. I mean, there's some country I like. I capable of performing country music quite well. Maybe because I'm from the Southeast. I don't know. I can play twangy guitar and that sort of stuff.
Now, Brian, how were you on the country bumpkinness of this episode?
Um, well, my parents hail from the Midwest, not quite Blue Ridge Mountains territory, but so when it comes to country things, I kind of would get, my dad was kind of into country music and such, but um, it wasn't really familiar territory to me as growing up in California. So
Yeah.
it's very familiar from that era of television though, because they just love to dip into, Andy Griffith's show, all those rural set television series. So it was very familiar in that regard. Um, but yeah, I probably preferred the more, sci-fi or, metropolitan episodes more than the country ones, I suppose.
I
I
guess it
would
was
If
it
I had
was
to
real.
divide them in that.
Go ahead.
I'm no, I'm gonna have to drop off for a second because I'm having technical difficulties, but I will be right back.
Okay,
So
we will
thank you.
catch you when you get back, sir.
All right. Glad I had two guests today. Um, no, I was like as far as exploitation episodes, I guess this one's kind of like closer to the top of the list for me. James Best I think he's kind of the key to a good redneck episode
Is
of the
it?
Twilight
He
Zone.
is because he acted like a redneck in the grave. Like when he's like, "Oh no, I done got man killed." Like, and then, of course,
Myrtle
the
Bank
last Myrtle
depends on
Bank. Yeah,
him. Yeah. I mean, like
that
with
I don't know which more is the more country episode, Jeff Myrtle Bank or Jess-Belle. I feel like they're almost tied.
Jess-Belle because it's got the music, I would
Yeah,
say.
and the
Yeah.
actual square dance scene and do
Right,
see do
right.
and
And him and his country women, right? He's just got the one girl in Myrtle Bank, but here
one
he's
thing I found out too, these Blue Ridge Mountains, the set, I think when I saw on Wikipedia or something, it was also used again in the Waltons, that set, which I mean, I was
that's
surprised. Yeah.
unsurprising. No, I will say my rednecking level is I have been whitewater rafting down the river that was in Deliverance. So we did not end up on the shore and run into new friends though. So that's a plus.
Mhm.
That did not happen. Um, so yeah, I Anne Francis rocks a black hair or dark hair pretty well. I think I
Oh
like
yeah, she does.
Veronica Francis more than Betty Francis. So, but
Yeah, she was rocking that hair pretty good.
here's something that I was thinking watching this though. I was thinking of like Little Mermaid, where Ariel makes kind of a similar deal with a witch without even really actually Ursula tells Ariel more about what she's getting into than Granny Hart does with Jess-Belle. Granny Hart's smart. She's just, she's using like, cult leader mentality. That's how Charles Manson would get you to do something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very. And this the old trope. I actually found a website that says all the tropes that happen in this episode. And there was of course the, the sell your soul, you know, give me something for you to get something. Let me gotta look that up real quick. But yeah, that's how original, like you gotta, do something for me before I do something for you, the soul. How often does the soul and stuff come up in Twilight Zone?
Hmm. My first thought on the soul is, of course, the Simpsons where Bart sells his soul and
The
the doors of
Millhouse
the
for $5, isn't it?
yeah, 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 and then the doors of the convenience store will no longer open for him. That's my shorthand for selling your soul. You do that, and then so whenever you're walking through a convenience store door and it doesn't open, you're like, uh-oh. So
Yeah. And then oh yeah, here it is. Deal with the devil. That was the trope I was looking up. Anyone anyone who tries to barter with Granny Hart and pays her with anything other than money will likely find their soul to be in the bargain as well. Well, we
Mm.
found that out pretty easily.
She has a sign up. You didn't see it, but there's a sign in her room explaining that all non-monetary transactions will include souls.
Oh, I was starting to think, what was her price though? Because I don't think she named her price. It seems like she was pretty content with the soul. Like she almost was like, I'd rather have the soul than the money.
Yeah, I think she's only hunting for the soul in that case, and
Yeah.
later was trying to get it from Billy too by getting his hair or whatever. Remember, she's trying to trick him to get the hair
Yeah. Are you talking about
because
towards the end when she was kind of
yeah,
like all foofied up? Oh,
yeah, she was trying to be a little more wily with him, but he wouldn't have it.
no.
Whereas Jez-Belle was desperate and was willing to do anything.
Yeah, I wonder if Jess-Belle's been roofied a few times because it seems like she'll just drink anything.
I mean, she drank that with no
That
hesitation.
concerned me a little. Yeah. So she got what she wanted. She got the power to hypnotize him, I guess, even though it was kind of unwilling. But then she's also got to be a witch. I don't know if that's a trade up or is you also get witch powers too.
Well,
It seems
you know
like
what stinks about that deal is they said when her soul got taken, it was like a piece of her heart, kind of like her heart was her
yeah.
soul. So she couldn't love him as much as Billy Ben loved her anymore.
You can have them, but you
Oh
can't
yeah.
enjoy it so much.
Yeah, because she even asked Granny Hart, like, I feel like something's been cut out of me, like my heart, like I can't feel. And Granny Hart's like, oh, that's your soul, dear. That's not your heart, that's your soul. Like, okay, damn.
And of course she's catty now. Now, one thing I would say is she's like, oh my God, what if Billy Ben finds out I turn into a cat at night? Well, if he's hypnotized, he won't care, will he?
Oh, you won't.
Also, I find it strange that it's not like lycanthrope where you change at the rise of the moon or something, after dark. It's like it seems to have a timetable. It starts directly at midnight and it runs through dawn. So she's only a cat like 6 hours of the day.
Yeah, come on, you can handle that. I don't know. I
But
guess
then
she's
she can
not
turn into
sleeping though.
anything else apparently the rest of the time. Turn into spiders or whatever, mice. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Once she's technically dead, she gets Maya powers, making London Space 1999 references.
So online they described Ellie Glover as a rich girl. I'm questioning what makes her rich in this town. Did she strike gold like the Beverly Hillbillies?
Well, her daddy can
Sure.
afford those hoedowns in his barn, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's big fish in a small pond sort of thing. In a super redneck in town, being like middle class will make you the rich person.
Yeah.
So it might be partly that. Again, Jeff Myrtlebank definitely showed a more like, I guess, run down sort of hillbilly community than this one. So, so
I don't
this
know
one's
if
a
you
step up.
caught in the this is apropos of nothing but in the trivia about Miss Devon, I believe, who played Ellie. Did you see who she married?
I did not.
She quit acting in 67, married Maurice Jarre, the composer,
Oh, okay.
which made her the stepmother, not the mother as IMDb says, but the stepmother of Jean-Luc Jarre or Jean-Michel Jarre. Sorry.
I got his CDs and one of these things back here. I could go check, but I'm not going
Yeah, well,
to.
she was his stepmom.
Yeah. That's kind of fun. So
That was
yeah, that a very different form of music. How would this work with a Jarre score? Either one. That'd be fun. That'd be jarring, especially in 1963.
Well, yeah. Jean-Michel was probably about what 9 or something when this episode aired. So I don't know
True,
how far
true.
along he was in his composition, but Maurice, I don't know. Maurice
Yeah.
would have been an interesting composer for the show.
Weird sidebar on the CDs for Jean-Michel or whatever. I don't know how to say these names. They're all mastered so freaking loud. It's weird. It's like they're like brick wall double time. So they're like the loudest CDs I've ever gotten. It's really weird. So mm. um let's see. I already talked about her being a Veronica in here. Oh, I this is like if you are interested in what passes or doesn't pass the Bechdel test, this one is kind of like, like the evidence full on, like how not to pass the test, I guess, because every conversation between women in this is about a man and
Absolutely.
nothing else. It's, I guess the one thing I find interesting about this episode is just its tone of storytelling. I feel like it was already a little bit antiquated in 1963, and now it's just not going to happen. Like you would not see a story like this in modern media, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Well, I was gonna say, was this like a tale of things to come? Like, because then soon you would have the Beverly Hillbillies, you'd have the Waltons, you'd have Green Acres, you have those rule shows, you know what I mean?
yeah, I think the
Petticoat
prologue.
Junction.
Mm, but the prologue also is interesting. I think the prologue in this one is a little more insightful than even normal prologues, just because it is mentioning like, no, this story is something that happens everywhere all the time, and this is the window dressing we're putting this time, Like
Yeah.
it could be a bunch of druids, that sort of thing, and you're meeting the druid priestess, and she's turning you into a cat now.
So I was reading something. They said there's some foreshadowing in this episode. It says when Jezebel offers Granny Hart a pearl pen and with a silver stick in exchange for the love potion, Granny Hart winces from the object and asks her to take it away because
Oh
the
yeah.
silver that's brought up in this episode. It's supposedly witches are vulnerable to silver.
Or werewolves.
Yeah, yeah. Where was
They're
Silver
kind
Bullet?
of
Yeah,
shape shifting, so yeah, they kind of got a little bit of that werewolf thing going on.
yeah,
Wear cat,
Wear a
yeah.
cat.
leopard,
I like
lepwear.
that her dress changed to a leopard pattern the next day and stayed that way the rest of the episode.
Yeah, she's gonna audition for the B-52s.
Hell, we'll put her in Love Shack. Yeah, sing it.
Um, so another one that just talking about not foreshadowing in the episode, of course, that that's a smart bit of writing with the silver because that comes back to be the end of Jess-Belle, of course. Um, I also when Ellie goes out of the house, which she was specifically told not to do, definitely got some like I feel like that was some Evil Dead vibes, around the cabin for a minute.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
see what you mean.
I mean, 20 years
don't
earlier,
leave
of
the
course, but
chair. Yeah, don't leave the house or don't leave the chair.
yeah,
Keep your Bible with you.
he was quite insistent about not leaving the chair, and that's the first thing she did. So yeah, um, I guess I wrote that Billy Ben is now an amateur exorcist, basically. So
Yeah, he knew it to pin through the old heart.
yeah, I don't know, like because he cleans his house, it's nice. I don't know, they could certainly like handle a honeymoon in Louisville or something, couldn't they? I mean, they don't have to. I guess they have to stay home that night though, because the
Yeah,
wedding ran late.
I
I
guess
don't
they
know.
saved money on the honeymoon that night. They don't want to travel
Yeah,
too far.
yeah.
And she can like towards the end she can change it to other things. Like once the leopard's gone, she changes into like a spider, a mouse.
Right.
Possesses Ellie at one point. Um, he's actually holding the spider in his hand, and it poofs in his hand while he's getting married. And I'm thinking
Mhm.
like nobody saw that, like nobody heard that. Like, there's a big poof in his hand.
Well, once you kill her in one of those forms, is she like not allowed to go back to that one? That's once the cat was shot, she was no longer a cat, but she can come back as a mouse or a spider or whatever
That must be
until
it.
she's taken out, and then she has to pick another animal because that one's
Yeah.
taken already. You already did that one.
She'd have a lot of animals to choose from.
That could be this could be a backdoor pilot every week. Jess-Belle is
Like
taking on a new animal that you have to hunt down.
she just be sad though. She's dying every week again. It's like no, because that's what's sad about her. Like it's all for nothing. You know this whole deal.
Oh well, yeah, of course. That's
Not
the
only
monkey's
does she
paw
not
deal.
get, not only does she not get to love him in return, like it's a one-sided thing, but she has to be locked up at night at first as a leopard, and then she gets taken out and ultimately killed. And then speaking of sad endings, her mother, like what the hell? Like and like somebody pointed out, like Granny Smith gets to just or Granny Hart keep living and keep doing this. But
Yeah, there's no
meanwhile,
comeuppance for Granny Hart. Yeah.
no. But
She does
Ozzy,
what
the
she
mother, doesn't
does.
have a daughter anymore.
She does seem to pretty much be okay with that. She's like, my daughter was turned into like a scourge of a hell beast. So
Well, she was upset at first, like when she asked, "What did you pay with?"
yeah, true. But
And
she
then she
she
said,
seemed
"My
to
flesh and my blood."
she seemed to
Yeah,
get over it pretty quickly.
everyone seems to be more witch savvy than Jess. Even Elle
Yeah.
seemed to be kind of clued into what's going on. And it's like Jess didn't pick up on any of this before she became one. So I
Well,
don't
it
know.
was funny. She kind of asked her at the beginning, like, "Aren't you a witch?" And I forget what Granny Hart said to her, but she kind of like flat asked her, and I don't know what kind of like BS response she gave her, but she was good enough for her. Okay, I'll drink the roofie juice. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, she's not that sharp, unfortunately.
No, it's kind of like the Chaser back in season one. You'll just there's that love potion. I guess you'll take it.
Yeah, that definitely crossed my mind at the beginning is are we doing the chaser again? Which I guess we kind of are. The setting's
Which I
very
think
different,
also
but
was a Valentine's Day episode, if I'm not mistaken. I think.
yeah, I guess you would just equate
How do they
love
manage
potions
to
and
get them
Valentine's
right
Day.
on? How did they manage to schedule it just right on the 14th? Is that just luck that the night it was airing that week
Well,
it
this
happened to fall on
season
the
started
14th?
in January, and it was one of the early episodes. So yeah, I guess maybe it was luck.
1 out of 7, right? I mean, hey, this
Yeah,
podcast is
seven out of one. Yeah.
I
this
have to
pod.
ask you, Matt, did it go all in one setting, or did it take you multiple settings?
Oh, for the episode?
Yeah.
Um, two because I just had to get through a lot of stuff. So, it was two sittings, but not like I'm bored, but like I'm busy. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's understandable.
That happens sometimes. But yeah, obviously a 25-minute Twilight Zone is always a one view, right? So
Yep.
Love, you know, love really doesn't work out in a Twilight Zone too often. I mean, I could think of two, the episode two.
oh right,
Um,
right. Okay, that I
what do
guess
they call it at the end? A love story. Two people that found each other in the Twilight Zone.
yeah, I'm trying to think of
Or
any other examples where
Or
people find
existing
love.
marriages usually last, like the man in the bottle. The couple stayed together at the end,
oh
even
yeah,
though
there's that. Or the
even though he turned
trade-ins.
into Hitler.
Yeah. When I was seeing
The
like when we get
trade-ins,
to,
yes, the trade-ins.
I'm not going to spoil nothing. You guys have probably already seen it, but when you get to the long morrow, talk about a kick in the
Oh,
nuts for an ending. Like, that's,
yeah,
geez.
similar idea. Yeah.
Okay, I'll see how that kick swings when we get there then. Yeah, I'm just looking through my notes. I mean, I guess I was just mostly snarking on redneck and stuff because that's fun. I called it the bath salts of love potions. I mean, it's a rough trip, isn't it? Yeah. Jess is entering her goth/cat phase. I mean, that's the thing. This episode, any questions you have, it almost literally is a wizard did it. Just change it to witch, and then you're good to go. Uh, Thinking about the logic of this episode is pointless because it's all magic.
Well, the burning
Which
question is what is witch's love? Because she tells her to give him witch's love, and it's
Witch's
like,
love is far too dirty for 1963
yeah, I
television.
mean,
well,
is this like tantric or something? Is this like something Sting would be into? I mean, what is it?
I did right. If this episode was filmed like in current day, would we have a little more steamier scenes? I don't
Oh,
know.
probably. Even if it was filmed as early as, the early 70s, it probably would have had some steamier stuff in it.
Yeah.
Maybe even Night Gallery later a decade would have been slightly steamier and sultrier, Uh,
And you might know this already, Brian, because you got your companion book with you, I think. That was the companion book you were reading from earlier, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, that has all the prologues
So
and
this
stuff.
was one of the only episodes, the only episode that didn't have an outro from Rod Serling.
Yeah, I had the song instead, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
well, yeah, I mean, season 4 has been very clear that Rod pops in and does a bunch of these all at once and then disappears and is not
Oh, I was
around
going to
for
ask you,
episodes.
Matt, what did you think of the season 4? How they go like next week on the Twilight Zone, and then Rod will show you the highlights of like the episode. What do you think about that?
Oh, I've been getting those since season 1 on my Blu-rays.
No,
Yep.
no, no. I'm talking about where he actually shows the clips of the episode.
Oh,
Yeah,
instead
in
of just
season
talks.
4 they show more
Yeah.
clips. In
Yeah.
Oh,
seasons
okay.
1 and 2, he kind of does a little riff, does a little gag based on, like the mannequin from the After Hours standing there and whatever. But these, yeah, they actually just shows clips because Rod's not really around for that. He's not
You're
around
right.
to do the gags anymore. He's just narrating and then getting out of the studio. So yeah.
Well, I guess I'll throw out that I didn't quite notice. A lot of times I have stopped watching them, maybe because I used to expect a little gag and I let it roll, and now I like whatever. I start seeing clips, I'm like, I'm about to see this anyway, so I don't need to see it now.
Yeah, it's less interesting that way.
And then,
I mean,
oh, sorry, go ahead. Finish, Brian.
no, it's just becomes more of a standard next week sort of situation, which every other TV show did, so it was less interesting. So
Yeah. Just like what's the other thing they say in season 4 now? Like, don't adjust your television sets. Twilight Zone will be back after these messages. They started like throwing that in there.
oh,
Something, yeah.
I haven't heard that in any. I just heard this music sting in the card that said Twilight Zone. I never heard anything like that.
I've been getting that, and then like station identification. So
Yes, that's what it is. Sorry, station identification. That's what it is.
Oh yeah, sometimes we'll be back after station identification. Yeah.
That almost reminds me of Outer Limits. Do not adjust your television sets. No,
Oh, right, that's
you're in
their
complete
trademark.
control.
Yeah, Twilight
Yeah.
Zone definitely cannot use that, can they?
Yeah.
Nope, that's not their catchphrase. Sorry.
I guess I'll pivot into the questions, but unless someone has like a big take they want to throw on the table. I mean, it's weird. I'm sitting here watching or not doing this, and I'm like, I enjoyed watching the episode, but now I'm like, I guess it didn't. It was a fun one to watch, but I don't know how much meat on the bone it has.
Well,
I don't know.
I see it. I didn't have a problem with it being an hour. Like, did you guys think it could have been crammed in 30 minutes or 25
It
minutes?
felt properly paced. This one I would assume was written as an hour.
Yeah. Oh,
long
yeah. Well,
episode.
in fact, it was written on very short notice. 'Cause I was just reading the book about how Earl Hamner had about a week because some other script fell through, and so he was asked, "Can you write an episode in a week?" And he was like, "It takes me a week to come up with an idea, but I'll try." He did a pretty good job. I mean, when you consider 1 week's notice, he wrote this script. I'll buy it. That was pretty good script overall.
I'd buy that for $1.
I'll make a music analogy then. There's the Daft Punk album, Human After All, which is not their best known album. But the thing at the time is they were like, yeah, we recorded this electronic album in a week, and it's like weird and clunky and repetitive, but it's kind of fun. I guess Jess-Belle is kind of like that. They had to rush the episode. It's not smoothed out. It's got more rough edges or weird edges than a normal Twilight Zone, but it kind of still worked out.
Oh, I was gonna say when you were talking about, was it Evil Dead vibes or something when you were
Yes,
in the house when
yes.
she was in the house? I was getting more like Final Destination vibes, like strange things going to happen, like clocks falling over and killing people, and no one will be able to attribute it to anything. It's just wild coincidence that the clock fell over and killed Ellie or whatever. So yeah,
Well, that's what happens in the cabin in
Yeah, if
Evil
this was
Dead
later,
2,
like the
so.
gas would have came on from the stove. Or
Yeah,
something.
it just would have exploded.
I especially meant once she went outside, and it's in this that felt very Evil Dead to me, and she's getting possessed.
Yeah, the hand too. Like, imagine if she did go Evil Dead too. She cut it off right there. She got a
Yeah.
boomstick.
Yeah. Billy Ben shows up, and she's got a chainsaw for her arm now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Sorry, I thought it was Yeah, he shoved a shotgun into his freaking hand. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
To his
carries
arm.
carries the shotgun and then
Yeah,
has the chainsaw.
chainsaw arm.
But
Yeah.
then in Army of Darkness, he changes it to what, like a mechanical hand or something. So
I
I never
found
seen.
this funny. It says again, Granny Hart, like we were talking, she doesn't get no karma, like there's no comeuppance. And I found this line that says she'll likely keep screwing everyone over who comes to her for something that pays without money.
Oh yeah, that's her. That's her
So I don't
MO.
know. Maybe she doesn't want. Maybe either way works for her, the soul or the money. I don't. Both ways.
Aren't you creating more competition for yourself if you just keep making more witches? It's kind of like vampires making more vampires. Now there's
But then she,
competition.
but then she told Billy Ben how to kill her.
Yeah, well, all right. That's true.
So is that her plan? What does she get out of this besides killing people? Like what is she? She gets the soul, but what does she do with the soul? I guess stores it in the safe.
Maybe she just wants to watch the world burn.
Pretty soon, this town's going to be a population of one.
Yeah, I guess in terms of motivation, Granny Hart is maybe again written in a week, so that it's see now that you said that I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, for this maybe this is second draft at best. Whatever, it works, it's fine. I'm willing to forgive a few things on this episode because
I'll
it
take
goes down smooth, I guess, is why.
second draft of an Earl Hamner Jr. story than, Joe Bob Briggs or whatever wrote the script.
Oh, I mean, and if this Earl Hamner Jr. Country Bumpkin stuff is not your cup of tea, Matt, when you get to season 5, you'll really like oh, what is that called? The one where those people end up in a fake town. Stop over
Oh,
in a quiet town. I think that's what it's called.
oh, that
Yeah.
sounds
Cloud
familiar.
Town. Yeehaw.
I thought you were going to say the Bewitching Pool, which I think is another Hamner script.
Yeah.
I don't,
Earl,
that,
Earl,
that, that
Earl.
one's not exploitation, I believe. Isn't
Oh,
it
it
like
gets when you hear the
no, the
when you
Bewitching
hear
Pool, I
June
mean.
Foray's voice. You'll hear it.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'll
Oh
change my
yeah,
mind
that's right.
then.
I said it had June Foray in it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Of course, we're the elephant in the room. Of course, is that he wrote the Walton. He created the Waltons, right? So that's kind of
Yeah.
your door into that whole Appalachian lifestyle right there. We all grew up with it in the '70s watching that show. So
Yeah,
get a
like I was
different view.
explaining to Matt when you were dealing with your technical stuff.
Mhm.
They actually reused the Blue Ridge Mountain scenes in the Waltons, I guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, they're still on set. I'll start doing some questions, I guess. The first, of course, being who in this episode goes into or through the Twilight Zone.
Well, Billy for sure gets Jess, I guess, really. It starts with Jess and then Billy kind of drags him in, and then everybody in the town sees her as the wildcat, right? So
The Jezebel, yes.
get it? Jess-Belle,
Get it? Get
Jezebel.
it?
Did you get
Oh my
that? Did you
God.
Yeah.
get that, you
Yeah.
guys? You just got that just now. Okay.
It's like my favorite chick tract, which is the one with the Angels band or whatever, and their manager is Lou Cipher.
Oh,
I think he
nice.
does introduce himself as Mr. Cipher first, Lou Cipher. So
Great Lucifer.
I would actually probably say Ellie goes the deepest in here because she is kind of a innocent party for the most part, and she gets possessed.
True.
Well,
Sure. I
that at
mean, it's
least
not
puts
many
her
people
deep in as anyone else.
who aren't touched by it in some way in this story. Even if the townsfolk are just watching weird things happen around them. So, but I guess we're gonna say that Granny Hart is of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah, she
She's
has no
been there for a while.
motivation. Only has a
Mhm.
motivation for weirdness, which makes her like she's not a character. She is the Twilight Zone in this
She's
episode.
random chaos, random evil, chaotic evil. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
I need to look at that chart sometime because people keep bringing it up.
Well, I don't think I could properly answer this question then because you guys took my answers.
Oh,
You named
okay.
everybody that actually went through the Twilight Zone, so I just have to agree with you guys.
Sure, that's fine. I guess we could consider Aussie. Would you? I guess she just has a weird situation to deal with. I don't know. She knows her
I
daughter
think
turns
she had to
into a
suffer
cat.
the most because, like I said, she lost a daughter, and who knows where the husband is. I guess she's not in the picture.
Billy Ben will just be like, I dated crazy. You gotta date crazy before you get married, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And what if eventually Ellie comes to Granny Hart? for some potions
Ellie,
down the road.
I doubt Ellie's gonna do that. One, because of his experience, and two, she just didn't seem like the person who's gonna stumble into Granny Hearts. Um, I mean, I'm thinking like in my hometown, Doraville, Georgia. Doraville. That's not really that rednecking, but it sounds like it. And there was like and the remnants of the old downtown, most of which was torn down for a train station, newfangled train station, not a classy one. But yeah, there was this store of weird supernatural knickknacks. I mean, it definitely looked like a place you would go in and start being in an episode of The Twilight Zone. So, but it's not, like it's
Eye of Newton, that sort of thing.
yeah, I didn't really frequent that place, so I
Dried
wasn't
bat.
asking for it. Where Jess-Belle goes straight in, somewhat clueless, but she should. That's the thing you're saying. Maybe Sean, you were saying like the rest of the town seems to know about Granny Hart and Jess-Belle doesn't. She knows. She's just overcome with dumb
Does
teenage lust. I don't
I
know how else
question
she's
though, does
supposed to
Ellie know? I
be.
don't think Ellie knows. It seems like everybody around her kind of, but it never like actually, she never like really says anything bad about Granny Hart, does she? Unless I missed it. Like
Yeah.
she never questions her
Hmm.
or anything.
Well, she's familiar with the idea of being bewitched because she, basically from moment one accuses her of bewitching Billy.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, she works it out pretty quickly. She doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
know
Well,
how
she
that.
knows Jezebel, but I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I'm thinking Ellie's a little too country bumpkin to figure it out.
Well, we
do you
can
think this
take.
is like a Sith situation where she needs an apprentice? So maybe she was just gonna have Jess-Belle be the next the next witch of the town after she's
You,
gone.
So she's like currently
well,
the
you know
Darth
where
Vader.
I thought this episode was going to go is I thought Granny Hart was going to slowly transform into Jezebel, and she was going to fall in love with Billy Turner or
Oh,
Billy Ben Turner.
That would have been the third draft, maybe. When you
Yeah,
had 2
no,
weeks to
because
write
like
it.
when she said she paid her with her flesh and her blood and her soul and stuff. So for some reason, I don't know, and I just thought like Granny Hart was going to take over her body, and she like, especially the way she acted like she wanted Billy Ben at the end there when she's all doing her hair.
No, that's what we call putting on the writer's hat there. So I agree that might have made a more compelling episode, to be honest. Um, and I'm not slamming this episode at all. I enjoyed it, but I guess it doesn't have like the depths of the Twilight Zone. It's there. I mean, the Granny Hart's clearly a Twilight Zone character, but it just doesn't have the. I guess it doesn't have as much existential dread because second question, do they deserve their trip into the Twilight Zone? I mean, Jess just stupidly steps in, like full on.
Yeah, I wanted to feel sympathy for her, but it's not like that potion was forced down her throat. Like she was pretty willing with it.
well, before
She
she
just
even got
wanted,
to that point, she was saying this wedding's not going to take place. So she's already got vengeance on her mind. So yeah, she
yeah.
kind of deserved it.
I guess as a guy looking at a dark-haired Anne Francis, you're like, well, she deserves it. You get thrown off by the dark-haired Anne Francis. That's all. Billy Ben. I guess he's too compromised in this because he spends half the episode in a magical daze. So,
Right.
is he responsible for what
I
he's
get
doing? At the
I
end,
guess
he's
he would
definitely, yeah, he's in charge again at the end, I guess. But
I guess he would deserve it if he's kind of leading on Jezebel, because you kind of get that impression too. Like before the engagement, like how long
Yeah,
did they break this off? Like how long ago was this relationship over
she
before he
like
got with him?
Billy's side piece or something. Then he decides to settle on the girl who has the wealth and the status in town.
We know why he got married.
I mean, I guess my impression was they were secretly dating a few years before, and then he later started a new maybe dumped her for Ellie. I don't know, or maybe he was having some side piece. I don't know.
See,
Uh,
I had this like thought in my mind, like it was just weeks after the breakup, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna marry her.
Yeah,
yeah,
we don't
yeah.
get a timeline really, but yeah, it
Yeah.
seems like it wasn't that long ago.
Mm. Yeah, but I guess that's how you construct it in your head watching it. So, and then you put your own morality on him. But in general, I don't think he deserves to be bewitched for however long he's bewitched, right?
Yeah, he
Which I guess is
probably
like
paid.
3 days. Or he's bewitched for what, 3 days? Is it in the end?
Well, it was leading up to planning to marry her, but that was like pretty short engagement.
Well, and she said Jezebel kept putting off the wedding. So how
Yeah, so
long
there's
was he?
some.
How
I
long
think there
was he
was some
bewitched?
time, some passage of
Oh
time,
yeah,
but not a
yeah,
lot.
yeah. Okay. I guess mom just got used to sticking her in her room as a cat at night. So
What a
because I was
job.
thinking the first night she runs free, second night she's locked in the room and then escapes through the window. Because why didn't you lock the window? And but yeah, it seems that actually went on for a while. Good point. So I would give it like maybe a few weeks because he's bewitched and obsessed, and every day is probably like when are we getting married? So it doesn't have to be that much time.
I was genuinely creeped out by seeing that leopard wandering around the set. Like they just let it loose and it crawled through the fence and walked through the trees. And I'm like, I did not want to be on the set that day. I would be afraid that cat would just snap and do something weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like when I
yeah.
was listening to your episode of Phenomena, when you guys were talking about that, you, Matt,
Oh, all the maggots
and
on set. They have on set.
no,
Yeah.
when you were talking about when the monkey, the chimpanzee bit Jennifer Connelly's finger.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's one of those things where you forget what you said several months later.
Well, it was once I realized I never listened to the episode, so I just listened to it today. So that's
Oh,
why it
okay.
was fresh
There
in
we
my
go.
mind.
That's why I'm like, what? All I remember are maggots. So, um, Aussie mommy, who's I don't know why I'm doing that. I just call her Aussie because that is the name they gave her in the credits. Um, yeah, mm. This brings up the tricky question. I guess she doesn't deserve it, but she did raise Jess-Belle, and Jess-Belle is now this stupid. So I don't know if we should, how much we
No,
should give to
are we
mom.
questioning now if Ellie deserved it? Because I don't think we put the mom in there. She didn't go to the Twilight Zone.
Oh, I mean Jess-Belle's mom, right?
Yeah, no, no, yeah, you're questioning Jessica, but I thought we didn't say she was one of the people that went into the Twilight Zone. I thought it was Ellie was the third
Well,
one.
she certainly gets the effects of it. I mean, when you were,
Yeah.
yeah, she feels the effects, but she
Well,
doesn't have a daughter anymore.
yeah, she gets the harsh reality. Twilight Zone. Twilight Zone giveth and Twilight Zone taketh.
Yes. So Ellie, I feel like she's a relatively undeserving party.
Mm, I don't know. I
Yeah, I
want to.
wouldn't I wouldn't put anything on Elwyn. She didn't really deserve anything that
If
happened
any,
to her.
if anything, she's just bland, right?
She's just kind of there. She's nice.
I mean, you already have three strong personalities in this episode. You don't need another one. So,
I mean, she didn't like stalk Billy Ben like Jezebel basically did. So.
no, no, she let him.
To
So
the
she
one
figured
point
out
where he
what's
got
going
slapped.
on. Mm.
Mm.
She very quickly figured out what was going on, and it was like, I can't really do anything, and didn't. So, I mean, but I guess it's probably a smart move, because she would
When
have gotten
supernatural
herself.
powers are at play, yeah, lie low.
Yeah, she would have gotten her. I mean, she got possessed in the end for a few minutes, but yeah, she would have gotten much more tangled up in the Twilight Zone if she had been more proactive. So,
Yeah, she went not full on damsel in distress right there. So
did we cover everybody there? Is that all of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
there was
triple
a
meter time.
grandfather character, wasn't there?
The
In one of the
minister and
the
Oh yeah,
the father of Ellie.
who was
right,
our
right.
TOS guest star, right? He was like the guy in the cage who was with Vina, that old man. Remember him? When
Oh,
they find him
okay.
on
Now,
Talos 4. Yeah.
no, I'll be honest. When I was going through a cast list and doing a trivia last night, once I saw the minister, I was like, I don't need to do the minister, and I didn't go under that name either. So
Yeah, that was it though. He was the minister. That was it. I think that was the guy. Yeah.
I
I forget his
was,
name, but there's your
Because yeah,
TOS
like I said, there
connection.
was two old men. There was the minister and then there was Ellie's father,
I guess
the
I'm
one that was in
shell
charge of
shocked
the
from
hoedowns.
next week's trivia is another mild spoiler. Is I had to write like a book of trivia because there's like 10 primary actors in that episode. So, um, this week I was like, oh, I don't have to do that again, do I? And I after Aussie, I just kind of stopped. Except for the music, which yeah, I was like, I have to do the music, but then like you said, you go searching, you can't actually find much. So, but yeah, let's put it on the tripometer. Um, Sean, I guess you should go first 'cause I think Brian went first. Now I'm thinking game show rules, but yeah.
Hmm. I'm gonna go like a 3 out of 5, maybe even a 3.5, because I mean, you're turning into a leopard, you're turning into a spider, you're turning into a rat, a mouse. Um, Jezebel went pretty hard in the Twilight Zone, drinking roofie juice,
Yeah, yeah, she
being
becomes a whole
shot,
zoo. She's a
being
zoo at the end.
possessing people, being a pin put through her heart, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, probably like a 3 or a 3.5. Just for the transformations of the animal stuff and what she can change into, I guess. Shape shifting or whatever you want to call it, animal shifting.
Brian, where are you landing?
Um, I was going to go a little lower than that because I was getting, well, there's a lot of trippy things with kind of mixed trippy. It's like the whole forced animal transformation thing. It was like, at first I thought, is this like a lycanthrope thing? She has to do this again for very weird hours, like midnight to 6 or something. I don't understand. Uh, and I wasn't clear if she had the power to do that on demand or at will. I mean, we were talking a lot about, Maya over in Space 1999. Like, could she just do that at a drop of a hat, sort of thing? But I gave it more like a 2.5, I think, on the trippiness. I wasn't quite as blown away by her abilities. Maybe because I'm just too used to watching Catherine Shell change into something every week.
That didn't track with me so much. So I was like, I guess 3 for transformation
Yeah,
and -1 for square dances. So that puts me at a 2. Like
yeah,
I said, like the exploitation in general, like the exploitation westerns, for me, that is not trippy stuff. I'm not
yeah.
saying, well,
Setting,
well, now I'm thinking though the ultimate exploitation, which I consider to be 2000 Maniacs. I guess it's not trippy though. It's just like insane. There's a difference between trippy and insane. So if I
well,
were on the insanity meter, Jess-Belle would, easily be a 3.5 out. But on actual trippiness, I'm going 2.
do you remember
You
what
know
we
what?
gave Jeff Myrtlebanks? That he lives down the road, looks a lot like Billy Ben. It's probably his
Yeah,
cousin.
yeah. I don't remember what I gave that episode, but I imagine it was maybe a little lower because of rednecking as well. But that is
So,
not at
so does
all.
redneck and kind of take the trippiness out of things.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell a story. Andrew, regular guest Andrew and I, we played in a band in high school, and we had one show at a pretty big place in Atlanta. So we were calling all our friends from the past, and he called one guy that we used to, make like movies with as kids, and he's like, "Hey, you want to come to the show?" He's like, "Oh, I can't. Gonna be rednecking that night." So that kind of became our now that we didn't, or he made contact with him a few years later, and it's not like this guy was lost, but yeah, he just gave that weird response that one time, and it sort of became part of our lexicon that you can go redneck and
That is a verb to redneck. Okay.
yes, yes,
We
yes, it
got
doesn't.
the rodeo here this weekend. There's
All
two
right.
rodeos that happen around I live in Reading, and then Red Bluff is the other big rodeo that takes place.
So I just
Um,
heard Slim Pickens in my mind. We're gonna have 2 rodeos. Probably because I was watching Doctor Strangelove,
You're in
but
I've
Reading? You said you're in Reading,
yeah,
California?
yeah. You're in
Oh,
California too, I heard. Yeah, you're
yeah,
in
I'm
LA,
down in the
right?
Bay Area. Yeah, yeah. We should
Oh,
just meet
Bay
in
Area. I
Sacramento.
grew up in Sonoma. I was born in
Oh,
Sonoma,
awesome.
California.
Yeah. Well, we should like meet in Sacramento and go do something.
Nice.
I
Yeah, I'm only like
visited
two
the Bay
something hours
Area
away
once.
Is it 2 hours from there?
from Sacramento, like two and a half, I think, from
Oh, yeah,
Sacramento.
it's about a little over an hour from where I am. So, yeah. Maybe someday we some event, maybe
Yeah,
a
see,
convention or
I just
something.
hear California. I'm like, California's pretty big, but um,
What's that
It's
movie like the kid studied? He's like, California? Was that the Wiz or was that Fred Savage movie? Was that movie, The
the
Wizard or
Wizard,
whatever?
Wizard.
I think it was.
The Wiz is the Wizard of Oz one with Michael Jackson and Diana
Oh
Ross.
yeah. Getting two totally different mixed up. Yeah. Wiz and the Wizard.
Hey, both are worth watching, I guess, if you're in a certain kind of mood. They're both fun to watch. But well, I think the Wizard actually is more crap, isn't it?
well, California is pretty big unless it's True Detective season 2, in which case everything is about an hour away from everything else.
That
If you've
works.
ever watched that show.
My brother lives in Encino and it takes him about 8 hours to get here. So
No,
yeah.
like in Japan, I know it's Matt in Tokyo. I'm
Doesn't
not in Tokyo at all. I'm in the mountains. Takes a hour and a half on the bullet train to get to Tokyo. but I want to
Oh
live in
yeah,
my
dude, the
valley.
bullet train.
I'm living.
I wish we're working on a bullet train. I don't know if it ever get done, but we're working on one.
Did I say bullet train or Shinkansen?
Bullet train.
Okay, I was just curious how much I just edited myself for English speaking audience. No, once you're
Yeah,
living
but
in Japan, you never say bullet train, Shinkansen. Yeah, even if you're
it's like
visiting, 2 days later you're saying
well,
Shinkansen.
that episode I
Say
was listening to you
Shinkansen.
guys, and you talked about when you had to order McDonald's in Japan, you're like, hey, you have to taco, I want a hamburger. Like
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah,
talk like that. Like,
double cheeseburger. Yeah,
yeah.
which feels weirdly offensive, but that's how you're understood. So, which is Luke's story, but I think I reused it because it's a good illustrating point because we all have to do it a lot. But
I listened to like 12 podcasts the past couple of days, so I feel like I got a lot of you guys in my head right now. That's why I've been
drown.
popping things off, you know?
Yeah, sure, drown in voices. That's fine. Um, any final thoughts on Jess-Belle?
Hmm.
It's a weird one. It's like I feel like it definitely fleshes out the hour. It's fun to watch, but it's not in my top 20 Twilight Zone. I would
Yeah,
for
no, I
sure.
don't know.
No,
I don't know where I rank it. I don't think I'm guessing it deserves that 6.9 IMDb rating. It's not quite a 7.
That sounds about right.
if you
But
want your, weekly dose of James Best, then it's
yeah,
it's
and
oddly enough, he looked to me, this episode was filmed like what, a year later. He looked like he aged about 5 years between Jeff Bank in this episode, and I don't know why.
Hard living in Hollywood. I don't know.
I guess so. It's all that rednecking he's doing because he's
well, I was
constantly
thinking too,
playing rednecks.
the first 3 seasons weren't the air order and the filming order kind of mixed around a lot more.
Yeah, yeah, I think they're a little more standard at this point. You know what? Here's the thing that's really making this episode shine a bit for me. Yeah, James Best, Jeanette Nolan, and
Mhm.
Francis are all just so good in this. It's even if it's a little like a bit of a retread, maybe
She
if it's
chews
a
up.
setting I don't love, it's just like, yeah, we got three fantastic performances. So this is a place to watch people acting weird and doing it well.
Yeah.
And some of the
Like
writing was kind of clever too. Like he calls he calls Jess-Belle a wildcat unknowingly. She's actually a wildcat. And then after he comes back around to Elwyn, she says, yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. It's been a spell.
I mean, that's probably why they ended up asking Earl Hamner Jr. to do it. Maybe they knew he could like crank it out in a week and at least give you something usable, which Charles Beaumont was probably not your man at this point for that.
I don't know if even Earl thought he could do it, but he did. And he
I
even
think
wrote
that
songs for crying out loud. So, give him the extra points for that.
I think this episode might have came out the same year Beverly Hillbillies started.
Maybe.
I'm too sure. Like I
Yeah.
said, we were kind of getting a preview of what rural television was going to look like in these Earl Hamner Jr. episodes.
And he did own it. I mean, he's one of the guys for that. But yeah, that's the thing. When I was a kid, if the Waltons was coming on TV, I was out. I'm changing
Good
the
night,
channel
Mary
or turning
Joe.
it
Good
off.
night, Mark Joe. Good night,
Yeah, the
Timmy
Waltons
Joe.
was like, this is definitely not
Good
what
night,
I
John
want to be
Boy.
watching. I didn't
Yeah, I
like the
couldn't.
term John Boy when I'd hear my dad say
John
John Boy. No, I don't want to hear about John Boy. Don't tell me. I still don't really know who that is because I never really watched the Waltons because it
I
never
heard there's a
appealed to
really
me.
good episode with John Ritter, but I've never seen it. Any
Yeah,
of any of the Waltons.
I'll watch my Three's
Richard
Company.
Thomas, the star of Battle Beyond the Stars. He was John Boy.
Oh, right.
I'm trying to put it in a science fiction context so you can understand.
I'll put this redneck in a context you'll understand.
In a
Sure.
giant Roger Corman, may he rest in peace.
Imagine if Earl Hamner
boob
Jr.
shaped
would have
ship.
wrote. I'm sorry, I totally cut you off there.
Oh, I was just saying that the starship and that it looked like a pair of giant space boobs in Battle Beyond the Stars. It was a Roger Corman, and of course we just
From
lost
outer
Roger
space.
Corman this week. So
Yes,
thanks, John. Thanks for all the films, Roger.
that's right.
I was going to ask, what would you guys feel if Earl Hamner Jr. wrote a Space 1999 episode? If he made one really country bumpkin.
They find the planet of the country bumpkins.
Well, we had a Irish cowboy in one episode already
Yes,
this
yes,
season.
we did have the Irish Cowboy.
That's as close as you can get.
Yeah, it's more like if he wrote episode of The Prisoner, yeah, because we got the Living in Harmony Prisoner episode where he's out. Well, that's out west. I guess that's a little different than than the Blue Hills of Kentucky. Excuse me, the Blue Ridge Mountains, which is Tennessee
The
and
Blue
North
Ridge
Carolina.
Mountains.
I've
Sounds
spent a
like a
lot of
high
time in the
school
Blue
or
Ridge.
something back in the day, like Blue Ridge Mountain High School.
I'm sure there's a
In the
town of Blue
sticks.
Ridge. There's a town of Blue Ridge, so there must be a Blue Ridge High School. It's funny. Near where I live, I am in the mountains, and there's a Karuizawa, which is kind of like I guess the Aspen of Japan. Like rich people hang out there. I think Bill Gates
Hmm.
has a house there. John Lennon and Yoko Ono spent summers there in the 70s. But anyway, because it's kind of a hoity-toity place, if you have, I went to Karuizawa High School on your resume, people are like really impressed. Oh, Karuizawa High School, but it's not actually a very good high school. It's just kind of a plain Jane high school. Just the fact that it's in this nice town, it often tricks people like in other places into thinking you
It's
went
like
to
if you went to Beverly Hills High or something. Ooh, Beverly Hills.
Yes, yes, yes. Or for the direct one, if it said Aspen High School, people were like, oh, that sounds nice, but it might be like a trashy school. So, um, I guess I will shut this one down for today. So, I guess the plugs for everyone because you guys hang out here on Patreon. That's Podcastio, where we do lots of podcasts like this one. You get them early, extra chit chat. Brian and I, as mentioned, talk about Space 99 on Podcast 1999. I was about to say the Twilight Zone one, but I should say Films and Filth because that's a different podcast. And you can hear video games like Lucas Pokemon, Hyrule Field Report, and the Game Show, which I also referenced. All the podcasts are eventually going to turn to one very confusing podcast. It's my assumption. Uh, you know,
Let's call it the singularity, and it's just the podcast about everything.
actually, the most fun I heard was I often mention I listen to the Blank Check podcast, and at the end of one of those, he accidentally started giving the credits for a different podcast he listens to. So, which is also one I listen to. So I didn't notice it first. He's like, wait a minute, I'm giving credits for a different podcast. I'm just too used to hearing it. So yeah, I'll forget which podcast I'm actually doing it at certain points in time. So
Everyone
okay.
make sure to turn to your partners, swing around, do-si-do, do all that stuff.
Okay, that's a cut. I was literally about to say exactly what you said, so you can say it. That works out fine. I guess it's just a very obvious way to end this episode, which, by the way, this one is next week's episode. So, miniatures
Oh,
already
wow.
recorded. So and then I'm doing Printer's Devil Monday morning, which I have not watched yet and have never seen. So, Printer's Devil
Nice.
will be a new one for me.
Yeah, you should
Yeah, we
enjoy
get
that.
it. I was trying to think of more episodes that we talk about, devils, taking your soul sort of situations. And I thought like of one or two just in this season that we haven't done yet. It's like that one. But we also
Yeah,
had, in praise, it was the Pip. Yeah, Sebastian Cabot, Pip, that guy. And
Oh, that's season 5. Yeah, the very
no, it's
first
in
episode.
praise of Pip. No, there's that.
yes.
What was it called? It
I think
wasn't
in
Oh,
praise of Pip is right.
no,
nice
in
place
praise
to
of Pip
visit.
is
A
nice place to visit.
Yeah.
Had the devil named Pip. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why it sounded familiar to me. Great.
This is the other place. So what we call the bad place now. Post
Yes.
it's a good place.
I'm seeing there. Okay. I don't have things organized on this new computer, so I never remember where my Twilight Zone season
Have you
4
guys
list
ever
is.
seen that episode of Night Gallery with John Aston where he ends up in hell? And it's called
Maybe.
Hell's
Oh,
Bells.
Maybe not. I've only
I
watched about
think
5 night galleries because I'm like, well, I assume I'll be doing it for this podcast, and It's again the encringing like I'll do it later, when I get to it on the podcast.
I'm
So
wondering how you would film, how you would record those, Matt, because some episodes like they have multiple segments in one episode.
I've been thinking about that ahead of time because 80s Twilight Zone is going to have the same issue.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
That's
but they only break it up into 2 at least, with the
but
80s one.
sometimes they're very different lengths. Like one is 10 minutes and the other is 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
exactly.
I'll probably just go ahead and do them as the full hour chunks and do whatever stories are within those. But yeah, I've mentioned before, but my plan is kind of to go to Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone next. One, because it's less confusing because it's just episode by episode. And also it's just like being the more contemporary one seems like not as many people have done podcasts on it because the nice thing about Space 1999 is I couldn't really find any other Space 1999 podcasts, but there are quite a few Twilight Zone ones. So
Yeah.
jumping straight ahead to the new one might be a good way to distinguish things a bit more.
I'm eyeing some DVDs for Cold Shack, The Night Stalker, or The Night Strangler, or whatever. There's those two TV movies which are harder to find than the actual series, which is only like a single episode or single season. So not one episode. Yeah. So if that's something that would fit into the rubric of time enough someday, I don't know. It's more sort of proto X-Files than the Twilight Zone. It's
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
kind of,
I think
but
with
it's I got a night gallery sort of vibe to it though.
you know, assuming how long I do this, like just on my shelf is, of course, the is Night Gallery, 80s Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side, Ray Bradbury, show. What is it called?
Ray Bradbury Theater.
Theater. Okay,
Theater.
sorry, I'm craning my neck over to remember what the actual word was. Have any other anthologies up there?
Triller, I think it's called, or
No.
Thrill. No, Thriller or Trill. What is it called?
Now my brain stopped working. But yeah, those are the ones like on my shelf, so I'm predisposed to do the ones on my shelf first,
Right.
But no, my game plan right now is basically next it will be Peel. And after that, what do you think? Night Gallery or 80s Twilight Zone? I don't know which one I'll target next.
Yeah.
You guys have a
I would
preference?
I would say stick to the Twilight Zone theme, but it might be a nice change of pace to switch to Night Gallery.
Well, Night Gallery, to me, I mean, I'm willing to call Night Gallery Twilight Zone. It's like
Yeah.
two shades removed from proper Twilight Zone.
But
So.
isn't it sort of like Latter Day? It's like certainly has less to do with it.
Yeah, really less to do with it. Like I
And
don't even
he's
think he wanted to
more
do much with it.
just the MC, it's the host. And it's like
Right,
There's a
not
funny
to the
intro he has because his intros in Night Gallery are the paintings.
right.
So
yeah.
there's one intro where he's like, some people might think of me as like a malnourished Alfred Hitchcock. I'm like, what? I don't think nobody ever called you that.
Looking at the rest of this season, Sean, you're down for I Dream of Jeannie. Oh, Brian, I know why I invited you for this one because I don't have you down for another one this season.
Well, I put in a note for a couple episodes way back, but then I guess they still fell through the cracks.
Oh, do you
I think
remember what they
Matt
were?
said he got a lot of requests on here. Like when I wanted to do Passage on Lady Anne, he's like, that was like the most requested.
Yeah, everybody wanted that one. So,
Yeah, I said Death Ship, but then apparently Mike got that one already. So it's like, yeah, what
he
can
did
you
say
do?
that before you said that, by the way. That's why he got it.
No. All right, all right. But I
but-
thought I in my mind I thought I'd requested it.
Hey,
but
Okay.
I guess
maybe
not.
we can make it a twofer, and maybe again,
we
maybe
already did Death Ship, but yeah, tell me later ones coming up in season 4, and I'll see if any of them match. What were you thinking of later in season 4?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Honestly, I hadn't given it much thought beyond that. I have to look at the list now.
you should go for on Thursday we leave for home if nobody's requested that.
Oh, well, I think he already has a list of everyone for this. So.
I do, but we could do another one like this where you jump in if you want.
Yeah. Yeah, fit the man in.
Do a list. Some of these I'm not super familiar with. What's the parallel?
Oh, that's the
Oh.
only one I'd seen ahead of time. That's the Parallel Earth.
Yes, you would enjoy that episode. That would fit you too, because you're a Space 1999 kind of guy.
I could.
I think I remember on Thursday we leave for home. Oh, the Bard is weird because it's got what's his name in it?
Burt Reynolds
Burt Reynolds doing
the Marlon Brando.
a terrible Marlon Brando. Yeah, I think I remember that.
The ones listed on those.
Cliffordville's kind of interesting. It's another sort of, devil's,
I really like that. Yeah, Julie Newmar, Albert
and
Sammy.
Julie Newmar. Oh yeah, she had a cool hat with horns. Gosh, I don't know. If you feel the urge to throw one at me, just give me a warning. I can watch any of these. I don't know. There's nothing I have a really strong memory of. It's been so very long, I think, since I saw.
Okay, I could
a lot of
reword it
these.
as: would you like to do an episode with Andrew, Mike, John, Luke, Charlene? Would you like to be talking to one of those people? Like I said, I've already committed them all, but I could certainly do a 3-fer again.
Oh well, I don't know. You ask amongst them. I don't want to tread on their territory if they have a lot to say about a given episode.
pretty sure they wouldn't mind having like yeah, I mean, like today I'm really glad it was three people because I mean I didn't have that much to say about Jess-Belle, so it helps to have a third voice because there
The
were a few
podcast can be 30 minutes if you want it to be.
yeah. I spent a whole minute trying to sneeze unsuccessfully, as you may have
Yeah.
seen. So
I
Yeah, I
almost
noticed
wondered
you
when we
looked a little uncomfortable there for a second.
I almost wondered when we transitioned into season 4 where the episode's going to become longer, but you've managed to do the same amount, the same pace kind of.
yeah, this one I just spot guess it'll be around 45 minutes, and occasionally it's a little shorter, occasionally it's a little longer. I think this one was like right at 45, but as I'm looking at the clock.
Speaking of the
Um,
clock, I gotta go to work, so
okay,
I gotta get out of
catch
here.
you. I don't think we've discussed in deep yet, but next Monday for you, maybe we'll do the next space, which is
I think it was Brian the Brain, wasn't it?
it is. I actually noticed them because I was looking at the guide for that, and they were filmed in the order we're doing them, but actually when they say the days since um leaving Earth, it's always the opposite. So if you go by the numbers they say in the episode, it should have actually been whatever he just did, then Luton. Arcanon's then Luton. And it should be New Adam, New Eve, then Brian the Brain. But production is still listed in the order we're doing it in. So I guess we'll just stick with that. And I'd be, it doesn't matter.
I don't think it matters that much. Did you need a plot synopsis from me?
That
Because I
will
think it was
be, I did the last one. So I think that means it's Mark's. No, Mark did both last time, didn't he?
Mark did it last
So
time
yes, you will be doing
yesterday.
Brian the Brain, which makes sense. So,
It's
okay.
apropos.
Catch you later then.
I just got one question real quick and a one comment about Occult Disney.
Oh yeah, and
Uh
Brian, if you need to go, that's fine. I'll take the Disney
Okay.
question. Okay,
you
later.
take care, Brian.
Bye.
I couldn't believe that Emperor's New Groove didn't hit for you. That was like my childhood favorite. And
Oh,
I
what
think it was
was?
Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, right,
I
right.
can't believe
Okay.
I think it was David Spade's voice that bugged you though. I think that's why you guys didn't really care for it.
Yeah, I didn't hate it at all. It might have been you saw it when you were like, like right the time you're
Oh,
supposed
I
to
was a
see it. And
kid,
just
yeah. I think
yeah,
we got
just
like a 10-year age difference probably.
yeah, it just got right in your brain. Like, I mean, again, that's why I like Saved by the Bell so much. I know it's a piece of crap show, but
And then two, what is the next movie on the docket for Occult Disney?
hold on, I can go. Recess School's out is what. Oh, sorry. That's what we're recording. Oh, that means on the podcast it's next. Yes, Recess School's out is the
Wow, I
next.
actually went to the movie theater to see that as a kid.
I don't know
Remember that.
anything about that. That'll be
It was
completely new to me.
did one you were already old enough by this. You were too old, but One Saturday Morning never ring a bell to you? ABC's One Saturday Morning.
I mean,
It was a
Saturday.
cartoon block.
Oh, I had my own cartoon
That's
blocks,
where
but no.
Recess got originated in the 90s. It was called One, and that's where they had Doug, the Disney Doug.
Right. Oh, that's where Disney's Doug ended up because I know, yeah, it
Yeah,
was part of the block on what's it called? I don't have the Disney list
ABC.
open, but I can search it out. List of animated Disney.
But no, even though like you guys got like went all over the place with that Atlantis episode, I enjoyed it.
No, I mean,
Covered a lot of ground.
well, the guy that we were talking to, his podcast episodes will run 6 hours.
Holy shit. I mean, I used to listen to some that were 8 hours, but damn, yeah, those are long.
No, and he's fun to listen to. Yeah, I mean, that's his show is called Those Conspiracy Guys, so obviously it's a very, call it Disney's kind of like conspiracy light because
Yeah.
one, I'm not really, I've focused my brain more on the production and stuff, of course. So
Yeah.
but I still like talking about weird shit like that. So that is the one where I'm like, oh, I hope I'm not like crap in the bed with this podcast, but
No, it's and just we're in that we're out of the Renaissance era right now, so we're getting into like the weird parts of movies.
yeah, we're about
Like
to
the 2000,
leave.
2001s.
We're about to leave, like 2D animation.
And then I remember you
completely.
guys are on the dinosaur episode talking about the toys and stuff like that. I actually had a couple of the Happy Meal toys. I remember the
Mm,
movie not being big on me, but I remember having the toys for some reason.
you got a baby Aladar. Sorry, I'm trying to find the correct list here because there's one of the official like Disney animated films. List of animated. There's one list that's longer, and that's the one I'm using. So Maybe he'll give me
And
a
it's
few
also
bucks.
good to know that you guys aren't doing like Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, and like
No, but
the Jungle Book 2.
a few of those got theatrical releases, so we do cover them.
Yeah.
Uh, let's see. So actually, it was supposed to be Recess and then Atlantis, but I had to take the week off, and we already had Gordon scheduled, so we did it that way. After that, oh, okay. So Recess is this coming Friday, and assuming that we don't have to skip a Friday, there's some good ones coming up and some questionable ones coming up.
Because we're in
Monsters,
2001 right now, right?
yeah. So it's Monsters Inc., Return to Neverland, Lilo and Stitch, Treasure Planet, Jungle Book 2, Piglet's Big Movie. Now this lists the Lizzie McGuire movie. Does that have animation in it?
Um, Only when she like in shows when you get the little angel, like you're self-conscious, like talks to you on your shoulder.
Yeah.
There will be like a
Okay.
cartoon version that talks to herself, but I don't know if they do it in the movie. But usually
Okay.
the show worked out like that.
Okay. Because I was thinking of possibly
It was
skipping
one of those
that.
shows you had to be a teen in the 2000s. You're probably like, what the hell is a Lizzie McGuire?
I'll probably ask Thomas what he thinks, but I'm willing to skip that one for sure. Finding Nemo, Brother Bear, Teacher's Pet, Home on the Range. I mean, this list just goes insane once we get past 2000. There are like we have just as many movies to go as we've done. We might be no. I think we're basically at the halfway point of doing all these, and then maybe after that,
Yeah,
DreamWorks or
Monsters Inc. should
Disney.
be a fun one. I remember living in Sonoma in 2001, and that they did part of the movie like Pixar or something, like worked on part of the movie there. And there
Uh-huh.
was always like this Monster Inc. like bug car driving around, Volkswagen Bug,
Oh, that sounds fun.
like this little
Okay.
Pixar car. So you'd always
Where
spot it in
was
town.
I was Monsters Inc. Did I see that in the theater? Oh yeah, I definitely saw it in the theater. Okay. I'm just trying to place it like, what I was doing in November 2nd, 2001.
It seemed
Uh,
like that was a pretty big pop culture thing for its time. Like that was a big,
I would have been
like,
heavily depressed because I'd been recently dumped. Okay. Uh no, like one like Lilo and Stitch, I did not see in the theater. I didn't see Lilo and Stitch until
no,
like
neither. I've never seen Lilo and Stitch, the movie or the series or
oh,
the
okay.
TV
I
show.
did see it 10 years later. We put it on when my daughter was young, and I consider that actually possibly my favorite Disney movie. That and
And I hear
Dumbo.
that the TV series is pretty solid, but I think I'm a little too old for it now.
Yeah, when my daughter liked Lilo and Stitch, we did put on the straight to video ones of those, which
Mhm.
they're not great, but it was exactly a purpose, right? We
Yeah,
wanted to watch something different, not just watch Lilo and Stitch over and over again, so we put those on.
yeah.
It's weird, some of these recent, yeah, I haven't seen most of the recent ones. Luca, Turning Red, Soul,
So
Wish,
Doug's first
Elementary.
movie really got a theatrical release.
Yes.
Damn, I couldn't believe that. Like, because I'm
Um,
like, when your dude Thomas started talking about Doug like Nickelodeon, I'm like, yeah, dude, that was my childhood jam.
March 26, 1999, it got a theatrical release.
Jeez. And I'm one of those guys too, like him, like Disney Doug can like just they changed the show so much. It was so the looks of the people and stuff like that.
Well,
So different.
they did that a lot at the time. Toy Story 2, as I think we talked about on the podcast, originally was going to be straight to video. And last year's like, give me a year and I'll make this into like a proper theatrical movie, which he did. And if he's probably hugging people too much to get him to do it, but the Tigger movie I think was originally going to be straight to DVD, and they just got like
Man,
promoted.
you got a lot of Winnie the Pooh stuff because you got Tigger, you got Piglet's movie, you said, you got the Hufflepuff one, right?
Uh-huh, and
Or
the
whatever it's called.
2011 Pooh, that's right. Which I keep building up as being great. And I think I'm still right. Yeah.
Is that the
Uh,
live action one with Ewan McGregor?
no. This is 2011. It's really short. I think it's the last 2D Disney's done. Um, let's see. What was oh no, not live action at all. 63 minutes. That's the funny thing about it. It's like super short.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Oh,
this. Have Brave, Franklin. Yeah, that might be the last time they've done 2D animation. I
oh
think
damn, I
so.
thought Brave was like DreamWorks. Or is DreamWorks Disney? It is, isn't it?
No.
Is it?
DreamWorks is Katzenberg after Disney.
Okay.
No, Brave is Pixar.
Oh, Pixar. Okay.
Yeah, that is the last time they did 2D animation. That's wild. Okay.
What list is more what list is stretching out longer? This list with the Cold Disney or the Films and Filth?
Films and Filth, because that's 200. Well, I haven't actually counted the number of movies here, but I don't think it's 200. I think Films and Filth is a longer list.
Yeah. Oh, because you guys kind of had it easy in the 70s, 80s, right? Like with Disney, they weren't putting out that much.
Oh yeah, we
Like,
blasted the 70s with like 3 movies, right? So yeah, no, we blasted through the first, what, 60 years of Disney. And yeah,
yeah.
right around 2000 is when Disney really it was the 90s was supposed to be the Disney decade with Michael Eisner, pushing everything possible. Um,
Yeah.
and oh, I did learn that he is not the golfer in Soaring. I don't know if you've ever ridden Soaring. Have you ridden
No,
Soaring?
I
Okay.
I wish I was a book guy, but I'm more the Audible guy. I'm more like I have to listen to it. I can't like I
Oh
don't
no,
know if it's some ADD thing.
Soarin' is the ride at Disney's California Adventure and other parks.
Oh, I thought you said it was a book.
Oh no,
I'm
no,
sorry.
and there's someone hits a
I
golf
thought you
ball
said
that
have you ever
flies
read
away.
it?
Oh
Not
no,
wrote
road,
it.
road, 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 road.
Yeah. The
Uh,
Cookie Monster looks like he's checking himself out. His
he
eyes back
does.
there.
Yes, that's actually pretty common that he ends up in that. But yeah, it's always nice to have a full-size Cookie Monster puppet. So
Yeah, no, I
oh,
know.
I'm still recording. What do you know? If anyone's still here listening to this weird rambling,
I never need to stop recording.
okay, talk to y'all later. I don't think anyone said anything too out of turn.
Oh.
Later, folks.